And we're in the graveyard here at Burnham on Sea Church in Paradise, on the edge, on the outskirts of Paradise anyway. And an interesting thing is, in church graveyards, the trees are so old. They're always older than the churches in many occasions. They're very much venerated by pagans, trees. And this one, I think, I'm pretty sure, it's a yew tree. You always have these yew trees in the church graveyards because they're so venerated, and I think it's just a fascinating thing. A lovely old tree, and you also always get holly bushes and, you know, those sorts of flora.
So we're at St Andrew's Church in Burnham today, but we can't get in. What was the thinking? So we were going to go have a look at some stuff, weren't they? Because you think that
it's off the tree.
Off the tree. You were saying this is a very special church.
Yeah, it's a very special church. The reason for that is when King William of Orange, I think, basically they had a Protestant king to be coronated in Westminster Abbey, and Westminster Abbey had a very beautiful ornate altarpiece behind the altar, but they felt it was too Catholic for a very Protestant king to be. So they removed it from the Westminster Abbey, and funnily enough, the Bishop of, I want to say Rochester, but it could be Southwark, who was the Bishop of Westminster Abbey, he was also a vicar here, in a bizarre roundabout way. So they actually gave it to a church here in Burnham, and it's like, it's been broken down into separate pieces now, but as one altarpiece it was absolutely big, really ornate. But the interesting thing for the Paradise story is that basically it has actual sculptures of cherubim. Now, if you remember, I'd said that the cherubim guard the Garden of Eden, but also, once again, and more profound in this church, actually the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh's name, which is part of the altarpiece, is actually part of the wall here in Burnham. So once again we got Yahweh in the church, which is...
So we'll try and get in there at some point.
Yeah.
We can't stay, but what we can see is the church tower, isn't it? So should we go and have a look? Or what was the church tower?
Let's do that.
The round tower?
No, that wasn't the church tower, that was the original sort of lighthouse.
Was it part of the church, or was it something...
No, it wasn't. The church is much older than that.
Yeah.
But it was like the first sort of workings of a lighthouse before they made the High Colton lighthouse and the lighthouse on the sand.
So let's have a quick look at that.
So the tower, over the years, has been taken down by 2 levels. So it's twice as high, basically. They had to do this very carefully. So they took 2 layers from the bottom so that they could keep the turrets at the top.
Wow. Any idea how they did that?
Just by taking the other 2 layers out from underneath. On, you know, basically, I think it's like a ring of people with 1 brick each. Yank at the same time.
And
Count down,
Dynamite.
3, 2, 1.
And Dynamite.
The Dynamite Yank?
Yeah.
Dynamite Yank.
Yeah, that was his name. It was the Dynamite Dan the Yank.
Yeah. And people won't know about this, will they?
No.
No one knows about this.
They still won't know about it unless they watch this.
Yeah. So there you go. Learning something now.
I don't know about it.
An interesting little
Phil, you've mentioned before about tunnels in these places. Now, you've just said to me you can guarantee there's a tunnel here. Why would there be a tunnel? Where would it be?
During the Reformation, when basically the Catholic Church and the priests became fugitives by the King Henry VIII's men, they often would they'd have a tunnel, often from the manor house to the church or to the vicarage. So the vicarage is over there, the manor house is just behind the big building there. So they were basically like an escape route, just an escape route because obviously they were in peril, they were in danger. And you'll often find that they have these, churches have these tunnels purely for that purpose. So I'm not sure how on earth I would be able to find out by looking at that, but if you're doing it as a logical thing, you think you'd have it the shortest possible distance, so it'd be from that end of the church, if it's going to the manor house over there,
Yeah.
or if it's going to the vicarage.
They say between the top of this tower and the bottom, Phil, that it's 3 foot out of plumb. Would that be because of these tunnels? Would there be subsidence because of that?
I suppose there could be an element of that, but I don't think the tunnels would probably be big enough. But not also if it's from that far end,
Yeah.
it's not going to affect this part here at all. But the thing is with here, is this was all the sea walls there, the beach is there, but it drops down. That's very much like Barrow Church, and I honestly do believe, I had this like epiphany that Barrow Church is built on a mound.
Yeah.
And if you look at the way the landscape lies here in the church, it's a little bit undulates.
It's a bit moundy.
It's a bit moundy. And I wonder sometimes if like there's like a cavity, because ultimately this would have been like, I'm not going to say sand dunes because that makes the same with what I'm saying about Barrow, making them sand dunes,
Yeah.
but it is a very sandy right underneath.
Yeah.
So you're going to have like, I suppose, an element of like displacement, I guess.
The
But then
shifting sands of time.
Yeah, but then also what we got to realise is that Burnham is a natural spring. It was a spa town.
Yeah.
It was like I said in the Daily Mail, it reported there's the finest watering hole in the whole of the land. So, and the main pump house for the pump rooms and barbs was just over there.
Yeah, we talked about that last
Yeah,
time.
and also the fountain is just over there. So
Yeah.
there's got to be, I know for a fact that in the shops in over there in Burnham, there's like a row of terrace shops, there's wells underneath there. And I wonder if there's just like big aquifers right underneath.
So would the
the whole
tunnel
of
not
it.
fill up with water then?
Well, that's one of the things I always wonder to myself about. We're told the water table here, because we're so close to the sea, it's a very high water table, which means it doesn't take long before you're hitting water as you dig.
Yeah.
But then I have heard since, my friend told me a story of a waterboard guy. Oh no, there was an inspection pit in Barrow, big inspection pit. It was left open, and my mate, as an inquisitive kid, went down and had a look. And he told me you went down so far, and then look, you'd be able to go down another level again. There's
Right.
like a really torrent sort of running waterway. But then once you go underneath that, you go back down. You go down even further. So I mean, it always baffles me about
So this
stuff around there, because
this tunnel could be below the water table then.
well, yeah, it would have to be.
So basically, like the Channel Tunnel, like a waterproof tunnel, but much older. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like, I can't be 100% sure that there is 100% a tunnel, but as history shows, a lot of churches and a lot of these situations, they have got tunnels.
Yeah.
It's just the way as it was. But also where you've got, I think, a really ancient pre-Ice Age civilization in Barrow. And I mean, when I look at the old maps, so at some point we're going to have to do like a walkthrough map. I don't know how we're going to do it. But the golf course is not, and the golf course is not actually far. It's not that far away from here. The complex itself, and the mountains go right up towards this end.
Yeah.
So it's connected. It's connected. Burnham wasn't really known of as a town so much. It was sort of named, or it was brought into existence, I guess, they say, by King Alfred the Great. But King Alfred the Great is not any historical time, really, in the grand scheme of time. But these ancient civilization, I can't say what their name would have been, or there you go, the sign.
The bell.
But they are a civilization or a group of people that predate any history we're told at all. We're always told, timeline. But honestly, I know for a fact, I just feel it goes back way pre-Ice Age. I don't see why not.
No.
But there's no reason why it can't be. You can't say it isn't. Hard to prove. But if you were to, they have had archaeological digs on the golf course before.
But what's that got to do with this tunnel?
Well, what I'm saying is that this, as a place of reverence, they'd always build churches on top of old pagan sites anyway. So it's old.
Yeah.
It's really old.
I think we can safely say it is old.
It is old. Yeah. And the thing is,
Face the camera because I can't.
it's just a fascinating story. Every time it's always, hey, that's a good one. Ladybirds are good luck.
So we'll try and get in there at some point.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, I mean, there's a lovely church in there. Really beautiful decorations and pieces in there. And also, we'll be able to get to see that stained glass window with the, the Grail and the Ark.
Yeah.
Which are still, it's made me so happy when I seen it. I was like, yes, there you go.
Yeah. Well, there we go. On to the next.
On to the next.